Hello everyone, we're going to take a quick look at the ninth boss in the Throne of Thunder, Dark Animus. We only got extremely limited experience on this fight on the PTR since the boss was quite overtuned and it was only available for testing for a short time. Some raids killed the boss on the PTR by employing a strategy where they AoE'd everything together, which made the fight quite trivial, but Blizzard have stated that this is not supposed to work, and indeed they later added a 90% reduction in damage taken from AoE effects for some mobs in the fight. Anyway, this encounter is extremely unconventional. As you can see, before the start of the fight, there are many different adds located around the room, called golems. There are three types of golems: small ones called anima golems, larger ones called large anima golems, and even larger ones called massive anima golems. There is also the Dark Animus himself, the boss. At the start of the fight, only the small golems are active, with some of them being disabled in 10-man to accommodate for the lower number of players. Killing the small golems will eventually activate the other, bigger golems. The main difficulty of the fight comes from the fact that the activation of golems is done through the transfer of a resource called anima. Small golems have 4 anima, and when you kill a small golem, its anima is transferred to the nearest inactive golem, or to Dark Animus if he is closest. Large golems can have a maximum of 8 anima, and only after receiving 8 anima do they become active. Massive golems have a maximum of 36 anima. There are 25 small golems, 8 large ones, and 2 massive ones. In 10-man, half of the small ones and half of the large ones are disabled to compensate for the reduced number of available raid members. The Dark Animus works differently than the golems regarding anima. He activates as soon as he gets anima, and if he gets full anima, he will wipe the raid. Since he caps at 100 anima and there is 100 anima spread among all the golems, it means that some golems will need to be kept alive. The Dark Animus unlocks his abilities as he gets more anima. The whole fight is a balance between how many abilities you want to handle and how many golems you can manage to keep alive. To make the fight more difficult, the larger golems and the Dark Animus will eventually activate after a given amount of time, even if you have not given them any anima. As soon as he activates, the Dark Animus will drain 1 anima from each of the existing golems that have anima roughly every 30 seconds. The goal of the fight, therefore, is to end up with 1 or 2 large golems still alive when you are fighting and killing Dark Animus. So let's see what abilities the golems and Dark Animus have. The small golems don't have any abilities outside of their melee attack and a buff that they gain if they are in close proximity to another small anima golem. Damaged ones do not count. Their melee attacks are weak, so any players can tank them. Keep them apart to prevent them from getting buffed. The large anima golems need to be tanked, and their only ability is called Crimson Wake. These are extremely damaging void zones that last for 30 seconds and fixate on random raid members, chasing them around the room. Players targeted by these abilities need to kite them in safe areas. Massive anima golems also need to be tanked. They have 2 abilities. Matter Swap is a dispellable debuff that they place on the tank. When the effect expires or is dispelled, the target switches positions with the farthest raid member from them, and damage equal to the target's maximum health is split between the 2 players. This damage is lower the earlier the debuff is dispelled. We did not find this ability to be that problematic, and what you need to do is dispel it quickly as long as the 2 players are topped off. The other ability that these mobs cast is called Explosive Slam. The golem slams the ground, dealing a large amount of damage to players within 9 yards of the target and debuffing them to take extra damage from subsequent explosive slams. As we mentioned, the Dark Animus has several abilities, but most of them require that he have a minimum amount of anima to be able to use them. Touch of the Animus is something that he uses from the moment that he activates. He applies a permanent dot to a random raid member, dealing fire damage every 4 seconds. Anima Ring is an ability he starts using when he has 25 anima. He places several spheres around the raid member, which then close in on the raid member's location. If a player comes in contact with a sphere, the sphere is destroyed and the target takes a large amount of damage, as well as taking increased damage from melee attacks by 200% for 15 seconds. Anima Font is an ability he starts using when he has 50 anima. This causes players affected by Touch of the Animus to start doing AoE damage in a small area around them. Interrupting Jolt is an ability he starts using when he has 75 anima. He regularly casts this ability, which deals a massive amount of raid-wide nature damage and interrupts spell casting. Players will need to make sure they are not in the middle of a cast when the boss uses this ability. Finally, full power is something he starts casting when he reaches 100 anima. When he gets to this stage, this is the only ability he uses, channeling it for 300 seconds. It deals massive damage to all raid members every second and quickly wipes your raid. Obviously, your goal for the fight is to activate and kill the Dark Animus, and to do so while giving him as little anima as possible. We will release a written guide for this boss before patch 5.2 comes out, and once we get to do the fight on live servers, we will also put up a proper video guide. Thank you for watching, guys, and remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.